Hello everybody, welcome into another lesson. So today we are going to talk about simplifying algebraic expressions. So we want to get it into its simplest form. So what we got to do, we have this expression here, 1/2 times the quantity of negative 16a plus 20. Well, looks like we want to distribute that 1/2. So we're just going to use the distributive property. We're going to take 1/2 times that negative 16a plus 1/2 times that 20 if we're using the distributive property. So then half of negative 16, that's negative 8. You'll have negative 8a plus half of 20, which would be 10. So the answer you should get is negative 8a plus 10. And that's how you get the answer in its simplest form. There's no other way to do it. So, not so bad so far. We'll do a couple more easy ones and we'll get into some longer ones. Alright, let's see. We have 1/3 times 18b minus 39. Alright, so we got the expression 1/3 times 18b minus 39. Well, once again, we're going to distribute that 1/3. You'll take 1/3 times that 18b. Now, whenever you see inside the parentheses minus, remember that's plus a negative. So you'll have plus that 1/3 times negative 39. It's just best that you treat that minus as plus negative 39. So you'll have 1/3 times 18b plus 1/3 times negative 39, which we take 1/3 of 18, you get 6, so you'll have 6b. Then you have 1/3 of negative 39, that'd be negative 13, so you'd have 6b minus 13. So the answer you should get is 6b minus 13. Alright. We got negative 1/7 times negative 42m minus 91k. So we got negative 1/7 times the quantity of negative 42m minus 91k. Well, you're still going to do the distributive property. You'll take negative 1/7 times that negative 42m. Then always do plus, because that minus 91k, that's plus negative 91k. So you'll take that negative 1/7 times that negative 91k. Okay, so if we take negative 1/7 times negative 42, well, the negatives will cancel out. It'll become positive. So you just have 1/7 of 42, that'd be 6. You'd end up having 6m. Then you have negative 1/7 times negative 91. Again, the negative times negative will make it positive. Now you just take 1/7 of 91, that'd be 13. So you'd have 6m plus 13k. That's the answer you get, would be 6m plus 13k. Alright, I think we're ready to open the floodgates here. We have 1/2 of the quantity of 8u plus 10v minus 1/3 times the quantity of 15u minus 3v. Alright, so that's a little bit of a doozy of an expression there. We got 1/2 times the quantity of 8u plus 10v minus 1/3 times the quantity of 15u minus 3v. Well, for each of these terms, you're still going to do the distributive property. You'll take 1/2 times that 8u plus that 1/2 times the 10v. Alright, so you've answered that. Now you got minus 1/3 times that 15u minus 1/3 times negative 3v. Alright, so now we'll just go through and do the multiplication. Half of 8, that's 4, so you'll have 4u, plus you got half of 10v, which would be 5v, so we have 4u plus 5v, minus 1/3 of 15u, that'd be 5u. Then we have minus 1/3 times negative 3. Well, the negatives will cancel out. Since you have negative times negative, you'll get a positive. And 1/3 of 3, that's 1. So you get positive v. So now that we've done the fractions, and we've distributed the fractions, and we've done the multiplication with the fractions, we have it down to 4u plus 5v minus 5u plus v. We just need to add the like terms. We need to collect the like terms and simplify it. So if we remember, simplifying expressions like this, you have to take the constant of the same variable and add them together. So that 4u minus 5u, that'd be negative u. And then you have plus 5v plus v, that'd be plus 6v. You can't add the u and v terms together. You have to add the u terms with u's and the v's with v's. Yeah, they have to have the same variable in order to be able to add the coefficients. So the answer you get is negative u plus 6v. Alright. Alrighty, here, let's see. We got 1/5 of negative 5a plus 20b minus 1/2 times 2b minus 6a. Alright, so we got that doozy of an expression. We have 1/5 of the quantity of negative 5a plus 20b minus half times the quantity of 2b minus 6a. First thing, you're going to go ahead and do your distributive property with each of these terms. So you'll have 1/5 times that negative 5a plus the 1/5 times that 20b minus half times the 2b minus half times that negative 6a. And now you're just going to go through and multiply each of these terms by the fraction. So 1/5 of negative 5, that's negative 1, you'll have negative a. Plus you got 1/5 of 20b, that would be 4b, minus half of 2b, so negative times half of 2, that'd be negative 1, so that'd be minus b. Then you have negative half times negative 6. Well, the negative times negative will turn it positive. You'll just do half of 6, which would be 3. So you'd have plus 3a. And now you just got to go through, add the like terms. So the a's with the a's, the b's with the b's. So you have negative a plus 3a, that'd be 2a. Then you have plus 4b minus b, well that'd be plus 3b. So in the end, the answer you're going to get is going to be 2a plus 3b. That's exactly what you get, 2a plus 3b. Once you've done all the simplification. Alright, let's see. We got negative 5 times the quantity of 4 minus 1/2 a plus 1/16 times the quantity of negative 32n. Whoops, negative 32n, not 3n, my bad. Negative 32a, excuse me, 32a. I picked the wrong variable. It's supposed to be n from the book, but I wrote a. We're going to stick with a. Negative 32a plus 8. Alright, so we got negative 5 times the quantity of 4 minus 1/2 a plus 1/16 times the quantity of negative 32a plus 8. Well, we're still going to go through and do the distributive property, so you'll have negative 5 times 4 plus you'll have that negative 5 times the negative 1/2 a plus now, so we've distributed the negative 5 through the first set of parentheses. Now we got to do the 1/16 times the negative 32a plus 1/16 times 8. Well, now let's just take each term, we'll do the multiplication. Negative 5 plus 4, that's going to be negative 20. You'll have negative 20. Plus, then now you have negative 5 times negative 1/2. That would give you 5/2 a. Plus you have 1/16 times negative 32. Well, that would give you negative 2a, so actually that could be minus 2a. Plus 1/16 times 8, which would give you 8/16, which would give you 1/2. So now we got to simplify these terms by adding them together. If I were you, I would arrange the variables first. So you'll have 5/2 a minus 2a. Well, what's 2 in terms of a denominator of 2? It's 4. So you'd have 4/2. You'll have minus 4/2 a because 2 is also 4/2, right? Then you'll have that negative 20, so it'll be minus 20. Well, what's 20 in terms of a denominator of 2? It's 40. If you get 40/2, that's 20. So you'll have minus 40/2 plus the denominator of 1/2. I mean, plus the term 1/2. It's always good to try to get the same common denominator. If you're unsure, and there's no shame in this, okay? If you are struggling with fractions and how to get a least common denominator and all those things, please see my previous playlists. I do have videos on that explain it more in depth. But for the sake of what we're doing, I'm not going to go over it in gory detail. I'm just here to illustrate that just think of other ways to write, like negative 20. That if you wanted to have a denominator of 2, that'd be negative 40/2, right? So now you got your like terms together, you can go ahead and take care of those. those. You have 5 halves A minus 4 halves A. That'll give you a half A. You'll have 1 half A. Then you have minus 40 halves plus 1 half. That'll give you minus 39 halves. So the answer you should get here would be 1 half A minus 39 halves. That's exactly what you should get. So again, I distributed the negative 5 through the first set of parentheses here. Then I distributed the 1/16 through the second set of parentheses. Got negative 20 plus 5 halves A minus 2A plus 1 half. I got the like terms together. You have 5A, then minus 2A. 2A is also 4 halves A. 4 halves is 2. So you have 5 halves A minus 4 halves A. Minus 20, well 20 is 40 halves, plus the 1 half. Because you want to try to get a common denominator when you're adding. Whenever you have fractions, again, it comes down to common denominator. You want to have that. So yes, these can be quite a bit of a doozy. All right. We got here negative 1/12 times the quantity of 6r plus 4s plus 7 times the quantity of 1/21 s 1/21 s minus 1/14 r. Okay, so we have another doozy of a problem here. Well, again, start with each term. Start with each term to do the distributive property. You'll take your negative 1/12, excuse me, times that 6r, plus you'll take your negative 1/12 times your positive 4s, plus you'll take your 7 for the next set times 1/21 s, plus 7 times your negative 1/14 r. Alright, so what you got to do now, we've done our distributive property with these, now we just got to do the multiplication on each term. So negative 1/12 times 6r, that'll give you negative 6/12, which would be negative 1/2. You end up getting negative 1/2 r. Now you have plus the negative 1/12 times 4s, which would give you negative 4/12. Well, negative 4/12, that's negative 1/3, so you get negative 1/3 s. So you got negative 1/2 r minus negative 1/3 s, plus you have 7 times 1/21 s. Well, 7, that would give you 7/21, which would be 1/3. So you'd have plus 1/3 s. Then you'd have plus 7 times negative 1/14 r, which would give you negative 7/14, which would be negative 1/2. So you get negative 1/2 r once you do the distribution. Now we want to go through, add the like terms. Add the r's with the r's, the s's with the s's. So you have negative 1/2 r minus 1/2 r. Well, that's negative 2/2, which would just be negative 1. So you just get negative r. Then you have negative 1/3 s plus positive 1/3 s. Well, negative 1/3 plus positive 1/3, 0. So ultimately, you're just left with negative r. That's all you would get is negative r. all that work just to get negative r. And sometimes it comes out that way. You'll do all that work just to get a simple solution, but that's what it turned out to be. Do a couple more examples here at least. All right, let's see. Negative 1/20 times 5z minus 4w minus 6 times the quantity of negative 1/30 w minus 1/24 z. Alright, so we got our nice doozy here of an expression. We have negative 1/20 times the quantity of 5z minus 4w minus 6 times the quantity of negative 1/30 w minus 1/24 z. Okay, well, we're going to do the distributive property on each term. So you'll take negative 1/20 times that positive 5z plus you'll take that negative 1/20 times that negative 4w. Alright, so we've distributed on this set of parentheses. Now we got to do minus 6 times that negative 1/30 w minus 6 times that negative 1/24 z. Alright, so we've done the distributive properties now. Now we got to multiply and do these fractions. So if you take negative 1/20 times 5, that would give you negative 5/20. Well, negative 5/20, that's going to be negative 1/4. You'll get negative 1/4 z plus, now you have negative 1/20 times negative 4. Negative times negative is positive, so you get positive 4/20, which would give you 1/5. So that would give you 1/5 w. Now you have minus 6 times negative 1/30 w. That would, negative times a negative is a positive, so that's going to give you plus 6/30. Well, 6/30 is 1/5. So you get another 1/5 w. Then you have minus 6 times negative 1/24. Negative times negative is positive, so you get 6/24, which would end up being 1/4 z. Alright, so now since we've done the multiplication, this is what we're reduced to. Now we need to add like terms together to get the answer. So let's add w plus w. Add the w's plus w's. 1/5 w plus 1/5 w, that'll give you 2/5 w. Now you have negative 1/4 z plus 1/4 z. Well, negative 1/4 plus positive 1/4 is 0. So the answer you're left with is 2/5 w. That's exactly what you would get, 2/5 w. I think we'll do one more example, then I'll call it a day. So as you see, and if you've been with me since basic math and pre-algebra, you've largely been sheltered from problems like this up until now. Now that we're in Algebra 1, it's time we did problems like this, because problems can get worse than this when you get into Algebra 2 and pre-calc and all those. Oh yeah, that's a good one. Alright, so let's see. We got 3s plus negative 1/2. Now we got some brackets here. They're even bringing out brackets. You'll get 6 plus 24 times negative 1/3 plus 4s. How did I say 4s? It's supposed to be 1/4 s, excuse me. 1/4 s. And I think that's it for everything. Okay. Bit of a doozy here, because we got 3s plus the -1/2 all times the massive quantity that's in brackets of 6 plus 24 times the quantity of -1/3 plus 1/4 s. Order of operations dictates you deal with your innermost parentheses first. So we're still going to have 3s on the outside, plus you'll have -1/2 times everything on the inside. So we're going to deal with these innermost parentheses first. So you'll still have 3s plus -1/2 times the bracket of 6 plus, now you're going to distribute that 24 times -1/3 plus that 24 times 1/4 s. Okay. Well, this is what we've come to now. We still need to work inside the bracket. We need to do the multiplication first. That's what the order of operations dictates. We do multiplication first. So you have 3s plus -1/2 times the quantity of 6. Now, plus 24 times -1/3. That's going to give you -24/3, which is -8. So that'd be 6 minus 8 plus 24 times 1/4 s. That'd be 24 divided by 4, which would be 6s. Alright, let's continue working inside the bracket one more time. You'll end up having 3s plus -1/2. Now, what's inside the bracket? We can simplify. You got 6s, of course, which will end up being on its own. But you have 6 minus 8, which is -2. So you'll have 6s minus 2. So now you've been reduced to 3s plus -1/2 times the quantity of 6s minus 2. Well, order of operations dictates we deal with our multiplication first, our distributive property. So we're going to have 3s still just hanging out outside all this. Plus you'll have that -1/2 times that 6s. Plus you'll have that -1/2 times the -2. Alright, well, we got to do our multiplication first, so we'll still leave the 3s alone. Let it hang outside. But you got -1/2 times 6s, so that'd be -6/2, which would be -3s. Okay? Plus you have -1/2 times -2. Which, well, negative times negative makes that positive. Then, so you'll just have half of 2, which is 1. So now we just gotta do the like terms and solve, and we'll get our answer. So you have 3s minus 3s plus 1. Well, 3s minus 3s is 0. You're literally just going to get 1. So all that work just to get an answer of 1. Yes, you can literally do all that work and just get something like that. I know it doesn't feel so satisfying sometimes to not have variables there. Like, I should have got a variable term. No. You'll literally just get 1. So, yeah, that's it for that. The biggest thing, again, remember, deal with your distributive properties, knowing how to add and subtract fractions, getting those common denominators so you can get an answer in simplest form, knowing your order of operations. That's really all there is to simplifying these. There isn't much to it at all. So the next lesson, we're going to do a review of solving linear equations. We'll solve for x, so to say. We'll do a review of that, because pretty soon we're going to get into quadratic equations and harder stuff. So I hope everyone has a good night. Take care.